Stupid ghosts.
The Haunted House, a staple of horror fiction since, well, before anyone can remember. It seems that as soon as people were capable of constructing 4 walls and a roof, we've wondered whether the spirits of former residents could linger. The 1970s were no exception, and the haunted house was a very popular subject. One such movie that capitalized on this was The Legend of Hell House, written by Richard Matheson and directed by John Howe. It was released in 1973. I'm pretty sure I first saw this film in the early 1980s when it popped up on late-night TV, and it made an impression. The setting, the sounds, and the actors' portrayals all seemed to complement one another and gave it a very creepy atmosphere that I haven't seen many examples of since. The film starts off with Dr. Lionel Barrett, a physicist portrayed by actor Clive Verville, being summoned to the home of a Mr. Deutsch, whatever, a millionaire of some reputation. He asks Dr. Barrett to perform an investigation on the possibility of life after death, using whatever scientific means he has at his disposal. The location chosen for this task is the infamous Belasco House, which has a fairly extensive history of being haunted. The house was once owned by one Emmerich Belasco, an eccentric, if not flat-out crazy millionaire, with a reputation for unsavory activities conducted within its ancient walls. As it turns out, Barrett is not the only expert that has been hired to investigate. In addition to Barrett's wife, Gail Honeycutt, he is joined by 2 others, the mental medium Florence Tanner, as portrayed by Pamela Franklin, and physical medium Benjamin Fisher, aka Roddy McDowell. Apparently Benjamin is also the only surviving member of a failed investigation that occurred some years prior. At any rate, they all arrive several days later, and they enter the house together. I don't want to ruin it for anyone that has yet to see this movie, so I won't delve too deeply into what happens inside Belasco House, but I think it goes without saying that, spoilers, the house is haunted. As the group settles in and spooky things start happening, each member begins to develop a unique attitude towards the others, and this creates some fairly interesting character interaction. They also begin to develop different ideas about what's going on inside the house. At one point, Florence begins to manifest physical phenomena. This confuses her, as she has always been strictly a mental medium. Dr. Barrett, still skeptical about all of this ghost business, begins to suspect Florence is trying to harm him after he is attacked and injured by the forces inside the house. Fisher decides early on to remain cut off from the house's influence as much as possible, collect his fee, and have nothing more to do with Belasco House ever again. This attitude begins to frustrate the others. As for Anne, Dr. Barrett's wife, she begins to act, well, a bit peculiar.
Clutching, sweating, biting.
The ending of the movie is something that comes completely out of left field. I recall the first time I saw the film, and my immediate thought was something to the effect of, huh? I won't spoil it too much, but it does have something to do with Emmerich Belasco's nickname, the Roaring Giant. Produced by James H. Nicholson, Legend of Hell House was one of only 2 films he produced after leaving American International Pictures, who he co-founded with Samuel Z. Arkoff. While that fact isn't very strange on its own, what is strange is that he died of a brain tumor in 1972, a year before the movie's release. Legend of Hell House is one of those films that I always seem to come back to every few years, just to refresh my memory on everything that happened in the Belasco house. Years may pass between viewings, but I always end up enjoying it, no matter how many times I see it. There are no brilliant practical special effects or modern computer graphics to dazzle and amaze you, but it doesn't need them. It was made back when movies had to rely on story and creativity to hold your attention, which is probably how it should be. So, that's about it. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, you can give it a like, or even consider subscribing to the channel. You can also leave a comment below if you have something to say about the movie or this review. Regardless of what you decide, please take care, and, as always, have fun.